Hey everybody, welcome back to Durbin's Bourbon. I'm Joe.
And I'm Josh.
Today we're going to be doing a review of one of the whiskeys we hit on the Bourbon Trail.
Distilleries too.
Yes. Y'all that are following us, we're putting out videos of our trip to Kentucky. We spent 7 days there on the Bourbon Trail hitting the different distilleries. This particular whiskey is from Barton, 1792. It is a distillery that used to be called just plain old Barton, and then they had some name changes and some different ownerships and stuff, so they added the 1792. Little history. What is 1792?
A number?
No.
No.
It's a number. But it is the year that Kentucky was founded as a state. Little history. You'll learn all kinds of neat stuff here at
Wasn't it
Durbin's Bourbon.
part of like the Virginia territory or something like that?
And then when it became a state was 1792. So they thought that's a significant point in history. So they added it to Barton, 1792. Our tour guide there was amazing. The people there were amazing at the distillery.
And it's a free tour. It's not on the Bourbon Trail because they decided that they'd rather give free tours and not be a part of that because I guess they have to pay a certain amount or something.
Right.
So that was pretty cool.
Just free tours. You can do two different types of tours. They offer like the hourly tour or a little more in-depth tour. Of course, Josh and I are going to take the more in-depth tour so we can see as much as we can possibly see and experience at each distillery because they are all so unique. Our tour guide, Frank, was amazing. He'd been there for a while. It was a very private tour. It was Josh, myself, Frank, the tour guide, and a recruiter that was worked for the distillery. It was awesome. So it was really just the three of us and our tour guide. So it was very personable and intimate. It was a great time. We're going to put some clips before this video so y'all can see a little bit about Barton 1792, some photos, some stills. There might even be some videos of some white dog coming off the still. We got to try it. Amazing place. Kentucky, as always, all the distilleries, the folks are so incredible. Little history on Barton 1792. This Very Old Barton is called Very Old Barton because back in the day, whiskey, when it was produced, was really quite young. You're putting out an 18-month-old whiskey. So to be called a Very Old Barton, this was a 2 to 4 year old, probably more like a 4-year-old. This is a straight bourbon whiskey, so it had to be by law 2 years old.
Right.
I think this was a 4-year.
I think they said 4 years.
I think
back then that was old.
That was very, very old. When you're considering a standard bourbon or a standard whiskey coming off is 18 months, 24 months, if you're lucky, a 2-year bourbon. This being a 4-year bourbon, they could definitely classify as being called very old. So that's where the name came from. They wanted to honor that history, so they call it Very Old Barton, even though it's only a 4-year-old bourbon nowadays. That's the run-of-the-mill standard production.
And it's pretty readily available around that area, but
Yes.
where we live in the Northwest, it's we can't find it. So
Not
that's
so
why I
much.
picked it up, brought it back. But
Yeah, Josh bought it.
it's
and
only,
brought it
I mean,
back.
it was only, at the Kroger, it was $9.99 or something on sale. It was
Yeah.
like $13 or $14 at the distillery.
At the distillery.
And it's only an 80 proof bourbon, so it's not your higher alcohol, but I've already had a little. I really like it.
Yeah, and 1792. You know, those of you that are following a lot of the whiskey stuff, they have all the different expressions, the barrel proof, the wheat, the used to be back in the day, the Ridgemont Reserve, and all of those. This is just the younger brother to them. So you've got that classic mash bill and that consistency from a great distillery. The people were fantastic too.
Yeah.
Give it a nose.
Yeah. You have a little apple on the nose.
Yeah, surprisingly, there is apple. A little.
I got a little wood char.
Yep.
Is it more like fresh wood?
Yeah. It's not like that deep oak char.
And you can see how, I don't know if you can tell, but it's pretty light in color, so.
It is. You can tell it's not a heavily aged bourbon.
And like I said, I've had it. It's definitely nothing that's gonna. It's a very smooth, at least what I remember. Smooth. Doesn't have a whole lot of deep character, but it's good. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So it's not one of those ones you get all these complex, harsher flavors,
compounds, and all.
But it's I don't know. It was good for what I
like the nose. The nose is soft and subtle. Right. There's a little youngness.
It's almost like a watered down bourbon, right?
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Which it is because it's 80 proof.
Not bad. As you can see, we're sporting some stuff from the trip. Four Roses.
That was a
great distillery.
Wanna try it?
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody. Kind of coat the palate. It's very soft.
Yeah.
Even up front with when you haven't had a drink of bourbon. And bourbon characteristically is harsh if you're comparing it to Scotch or Irish. It is a much bolder whiskey. I like to take a kind of a first sip and then go in.
Yeah, we see how there's like not a lot. I don't know. I don't pick up a lot of flavors. Like there's not a lot of vanilla or caramel. It's kind of.
Yeah.
God, I don't know.
It's kind of got a green or young.
Yeah,
it's got a young green flavor to it.
Especially in the back end now. I noticed. I didn't get that before.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of heat, surprisingly, for me. And that could be just that young characteristic that's in there. Because if it is a 4-year bourbon, as bourbons go nowadays, 4 years old is quite young. Your Jim Beam White Label is a 4-year production bourbon. They don't really start picking up some of those deep characters until twice as old as that, which is your Jim Beam Black, which is an 8-year bourbon, or your Devil's Cut. So it does have those young bourbon characteristics. Not a lot of vanilla. It'll kill you. No. Vanilla's not real prominent.
I get that with these younger ones. I get that fresh wood.
Yeah. It's that
like a lumberyard or whatever.
It just hasn't had that time for that.
Doesn't have that good
expansion in and out of the barrel.
Yeah. But for the price, I mean, I think it's worth it.
That's a nice sipper.
It'd be good for even people that are new to whiskey. Because I guess the greenness might throw you off a little bit.
That green, they're not getting a lot of that characteristic from the barrel because, as y'all know, the White Dog going into the barrel, it's completely unchanged spirits, just White Dog going in. So from the barrel, they extract at least 70% of the flavor compounds and 100% of the color comes solely from that charred oak barrel. Doesn't have to be white oak, but most of them use white oak nowadays. So all of the color, 70% of the flavor, sometimes a little higher depending on how long it's aged, all comes from that barrel and the different char levels. Most of the industry standard is 3 to 4 char level, goes all the way up to I think 7 or 8.
I thought they just went up to 4.
I just learned the other day they go higher than that. All the distilleries seem to be around 3 and 4. Yeah.
And that's what they call the alligator char, right?
The 4 is the alligator char, which is a very heavy char. So that's where they get all those compounds, the vanilla notes and the caramel notes.
So it's not in there very long. You don't get a lot of that.
Absolutely.
Because you can tell with it. having it again, I'm not as fond of it as I was when I first tried it, honestly.
But then,
It's not bad. It's just I
Right.
really thought I don't know. I thought that I had more flavors coming out, but right now I'm not getting much.
and you know, it's kind of, it's not that it's unfair, but we just got back from Kentucky. So when you have a drink of bourbon that you were at the distillery
Yeah.
and you've talked to the people that work there and you've built this rapport with them, and now you're drinking that spirit that you've watched come off of the still as a
Go
white
into the
dog and
barrel,
taste
yeah.
it. When you drink it, it brings it so much closer to you. So of course you're gonna like it.
And it's
You're-
everything there is such a family atmosphere. It's
it
like you
is.
feel, even if they
Absolutely.
aren't, they make it feel like that they all are happy and you know.
Right. Yeah. So you're going to appreciate it on a totally different level than just walking in and buying it off the shelf.
And we can't get this here. That's why I wanted it too.
Right.
Something for the collection that I can't get in my area.
Right.
So
It is definitely worth having.
Yeah.
If y'all watching out there can get a hold of it, it's a great, inexpensive bourbon. The history is amazing. The distillery is amazing. The people there are amazing. I can't say enough about the authenticity of them and the way the place is set up and the history behind it, and the old spring that produces the water that they still use, which we'll put a clip in here of me or Josh drinking out of the spring. Tom Moore spring that's been there since the founding of the distillery.
they also have the world's largest whiskey barrel.
Yes, they
that
do.
we have a picture of as well.
Which we'll put a picture of that in there, so y'all get a little bit of clips leading up to the video.
It is not full of whiskey though. It's just a barrel.
No, just a barrel. But a great product, worth adding, especially for the cost.
Yeah.
You can't beat it. It's
It's better than any bottom shelf stuff I've had.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I would
agree.
consider it bottom shelf just because of the price.
The
you know.
price, yeah.
If it was like it was in Kentucky, it was everywhere. So
Oh, yeah.
it
Readily
was
available.
not expensive.
But when you think back about the whiskey that was being produced at that time, this was probably,
is probably-
amazing, because you're putting off stuff that's 18 months old. It's harsh, it's green, it's astringent in not a good way. So you get to a Very Old Barton. This is a classic top shelf bourbon of the day. So that makes it kind of interesting.
Yep, it's good.
I'd give it. I like it. I'm really
like
fond of it. So if you
I
can
just
get
I
it,
thought I liked it better before, but that could have been who knows what I ate before or whatever my palate. I don't know, but it's good. Definitely for the price, it's good.
absolutely. If you can get it, grab it,
Yeah.
add it to the collection.
Got the cool bottle, the
it
old
is.
Weller bottles.
It is the old, yep. Which
I don't know why they got rid of them.
I don't either. I really like this bottle
Yeah.
style. We're growing in subscribers. We hope y'all are enjoying the show. And if you're new to the show, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Little tip, it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. I remember I watched tons of YouTube videos for years. I never subscribed. I'm like, well, I'll just watch
I didn't
videos.
know what it meant.
Yeah, it's super easy to do. It's not, you're not going to get inundated with videos and all that, but you will get notified. We put a video out every Saturday of something new, products, cocktails, new whiskeys, whatever it is. So you will know when we put a new video out. But yeah, share us with your family and friends. Hit the like, subscribe, and follow us along on this whiskey journey.
Yeah, it's fun.
Any comments or ads?
No, you did a great job.
Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
As always, enjoy your whiskeys and bourbons any way you like. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Pretend it's White Dog.
I win.